The Sherwood Rangers Yeomanry have an amazing collection of battle honours they've collected over the years and quite a history, which we are here to tell you about today. Over a pint, of course. I'm Sam, that's Will, and welcome to Pint of History. Hello everyone and welcome back to Pint of History, your one-stop shop for some history, some beer, and the occasional, fairly often, knob joke. Speaking of knob jokes, how you doing, Will? You all right? What are you drinking today?
Well, I was all right, Sam, until you said that. That was mean. You got me right in the feels. You know, I don't have many of them. So yeah, I other than that, I'm all right. I'm drinking Hop House today. Throwback to the days when we could go to Wetherspoons. It was a favourite. That looks like another horribly dark beer, Sam. Or is that just it against your t-shirt?
No, it is quite a dark beer. This is the milk stout from Black Sheep Brewery, which is absolutely lovely. It's sort of chocolatey and vanilla-y. You'd hate it. It's really nice.
Yeah, I like that. That's how you measure a beer. Like a beer that Sam likes is a beer that Will would hate, and a beer that Will likes is a beer that Sam would probably pass on.
Yeah. If there's nothing else available, yeah.
Right then, say I don't like this word. Having a stutter doesn't help. But the Sherwood Rangers Yeomanry, which is a mouthful anyway, with or without the stutter, it began life as a Nottinghamshire yeomanry under Colonel Eyre back in 1794. And the word yeomanry really began this year, sort of around this year, and it broadly means a cavalry regiment raised from the sort of men that held or cultivated a small estate. Yeah, and they were called yeomans.
Yeah, so these units were put together in response to a somewhat troublesome little Corsican over the Channel, who was causing all sorts of civil unrest over in France. The British PM at the time, William Pitt, wanted a volunteer force in Britain in case the public over here got the same outlandish ideas as the troublesome little Corsican.
Yeah, that troublesome little Corsican pops up all the time, Sam.
He does, but thankfully doesn't pop up very high, so we can skip over him.
The Sherwoods were never sent to France, and nor, as we know, did the troublesome Corsican get his ideas to take root in Britain. They adopted the name Sherwood after the regiment was split into two regiments in early 1800. The northernmost one taking the name of the local infantry regiment, along with their motto, loyal until death, and the cap badge. They even had a rifle green uniform.
Oh, that's cool. I like the idea of that. There should be a sharp thing about them. Sharp Sherwoods or Sharps Rangers.
Well, if it's got sharp, if it's got Sean Bean in it, I'm going to watch it.
Who wouldn't? Anyway, the regiment didn't see any action abroad after the fall of the troublesome little Corsican, because there wasn't really much action to see for a while. They stayed in Britain, maintaining order all the way through the Industrial Revolution, where there was a reasonable amount of disorder. And they weren't called into action properly until the Boer War in 1899.
Boer War. Was it really that dull of a war, Sam? Sounds it.
You're spelling it wrong again, Will.
My bad. So not the boring Boer War was a conflict in South Africa. It did not start well for the British, but they quickly needed cavalry assistance and asked the yeomanry to come forward. The Sherwoods were the first to respond to the call and hold the title of the first yeomanry unit that the British ever sent overseas.
Yeah, they were indeed. They proved themselves as an excellent unit as well, and distinguished themselves in multiple battles. Most notably at the town of Lichtenberg, when outnumbered around 4-1. And within 24 hours of this battle, they won a DSO and 3 DSMs. This service won the unit its first battle honours, South Africa 1900 to 1902. Certainly wouldn't be their last, though.
Yeah, well, far from it, Sam. When the First World War started, which only happened 10 to 12 years after, the Sherwoods were taken off their horses and sent to Gallipoli's infantry. They fought there for 3 months in the fiasco that was the British attempt to control the Dardanelles, and they were awarded a King's Colour for their gallantry, which says a lot because the King's Colour was normally only awarded to proper infantry regiments.
Yeah, they didn't do that very often. The First World War didn't leave them there, though, and they were subsequently sent to defend Salonika against the Bulgarians. And then they were a major part of the famous advance under Allenby to Damascus, which effectively ended the Ottoman Empire. It didn't just take them out of the war; it pretty much put a nail in the coffin of a slowly dying empire. They received a total of 13 battle honours in that war alone.
Yeah. Sadly, some things that come in pairs aren't always as fun as the first thing that I'm thinking of, Sam. And there was a Second World War. Once again, the Sherwoods served gallantly. They actually began the war on horses in Palestine, but were eventually converted to an armoured division, as many cavalry regiments were and still are. They actually served as artillery for a little bit during the famous siege of Tobruk.
Yeah, they did, yeah. But by late 1941, they were fully converted into an armoured regiment, initially equipped with tanks such as the Grant and then the very famous Sherman. With these, they fought at the Battle of Alam el Halfa, which was Rommel's first sort of bloody nose during his advance, which really stopped his impetus in North Africa. And then subsequently, the Sherwoods headed the armoured attack at El Alamein, or strictly speaking, the Second Battle of El Alamein, which was the big decisive action in the North African campaign.
But this wasn't the end for them during that war. They were noticed because of what Sam just said, as being such a good armoured spearhead. They were put forward as being one of the first armoured units landing on D-Day. They went ashore on Gold Beach and were involved in the liberation of Bayeux within the next 48 hours. They continued all the way through the Normandy campaign.
Yeah, and then all the way through the rest of France, into Belgium, then into Holland, and then finally into Germany. They were actually the first British unit on German soil, and they were the first to breach the Siegfried Line, sometimes called the West Wall. This was sort of like the German version of the Maginot Line, sort of opposing it on the other side of the border.
Yeah, their capability was noted by so many that most infantry attacks often requested them by name. And at the end of the war, they collected 21 more battle honours and had probably the best fighting record of any armoured unit in the war.
Yeah, I think it's a bit disputed that, but it was hard to argue with, really. The Sherwoods were then reformed into an armoured arm of the TA, and then spent the next 40-odd years supporting efforts in the Cold War. A mixture of reconnaissance, asset protection roles, things like that, which kept them busy all the way through this war, which was nowhere near as much of a war of words as people fairly wrongly assume it was.
Yeah, in more recent history, they were mobilised as part of the British Army involvement in Iraq and supported the deployment of the Queen's Royal Lancers, which is their affiliate regular regiment.
Yeah, indeed they were. And in 2005, they were officially converted to a CBRN reconnaissance regiment. What does CBRN stand for, Will?
I know this one. I'm sure of it. Cock?
No. Don't finish that. Christ, the question will work with you.
Doesn't end in nipples.
No, it doesn't. Anyway, CBRN is chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear. So these guys support the regular army abroad. Basically the same thing. Yeah, there we go.
You say that. I say cockballs.
So these guys support the regular army abroad to help deal with these sort of threats, alongside helping to keep people safe at home in the UK and work in things like counter-terrorism and similar roles to that.
Yeah, nowadays they mostly do what is referred to as light cavalry work, and no, it doesn't mean they got their horses back, which is a pity, I know. But they provide a reconnaissance capability in all conditions, and are very much in support of the British Army.
So there we go, the full but massively abridged history of this amazing regiment. We've missed a million individual stories out here just for the sake of making this video short enough. But we could have included thousands from each of the world wars and various other areas besides, which we haven't, which is a real shame. But it does allow for a nice segue into our recommendations for this video.
Yeah, firstly, we must mention the Sherwood Rangers Yeomanry Regimental Association. Pat on the back for Will there. That was not easy for me to say. Their website is where we did most of our research for this video. And they're a charity who have recently opened a museum, actually, and their website is full of all sorts of interesting facts about the regiment. So go and have a look, and when you can, pop into the museum. I guess it's in Nottingham somewhere.
Yes, it is in Nottingham, and I'm led to believe they're actually looking for volunteers. So if that sounds like something that could interest you, then do have a look at the link that is up on the screen now, or find it in the description box below. We'd also like to recommend some books. These are James Holland's books, which I know I've mentioned them before, but they are really good. And particularly in this situation, that is Normandy 44 and the 2 War in the West books. So that's War in the West Part 1 and Part 2. Part 3 on the way, I believe. Also on the way from James Holland, and quite exciting, is the potential, I'm not sure what it's going to be called, of a book solely about the Sherwood Rangers. So about this regiment and all the wonderful stories that we've had to miss out in this video to make it mercifully short. Hopefully will be included in that. So really one to look out for, and something I'm really looking forward to. Right.
So if you guys have enjoyed this video, then it would be great if you could hit that like button or leave a comment down below if you want to hear any other tales of any regiments or any time periods or any wars or anything like that. And please let us know down in the comment section below. And please check out our other videos. We have a full series on World War I called World War 101. And make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any further content. I hope to see you guys all again soon. Thanks very much, guys.
Cheers, guys.